Hello and welcome back to Open for Learn. If you're anything like me, you know that summer isn't truly summer until you have the latest Emily Henry novel in your hands. She has become the undisputed queen of crafting romances that are not only filled with witty banter and sizzling chemistry, but also pack a profound emotional punch that stays with you long after the final page. Well, book lovers, she's done it again. Her 2025 blockbuster, The Summer We Broke the Rules, has completely taken over the bestseller lists and our hearts. It's the book everyone is talking about. And today we are going to do a deep dive into this beautiful, poignant, and utterly captivating story. So whether you've already devoured it and want to relive the magic, or you're curious about what all the hype is about, you've come to the right place. Just a friendly heads up, this will be a full summary, so major spoilers are ahead. Let's get into it. Book summary. The Summer We Broke the Rules. The Summer We Broke the Rules introduces us to Cora Stevens, a pragmatic and fiercely organized archivist in her late 20s. Cora lives a life dictated by lists, color-coded calendars, and a carefully constructed five-year plan. Her job involves preserving the past, which is ironic, as she has spent the last decade meticulously trying to bury her own, specifically the one summer that defined and nearly broke her. That was the summer she spent at the Starlight Lodge, and the summer she fell in love with Leo Grady. The Starlight Lodge, a quirky, slightly dilapidated resort on a forgotten stretch of the Michigan coastline, was once Cora's entire world. It was owned by Leo's family, and Cora spent every summer there until she was 18. It was a magical place of bonfires, secret coves, and late-night conversations on the dock. Leo Grady, with his easy smile, artistic soul, and a talent for seeing the world in a way no one else did, was the heart of that magic. He and Cora were inseparable, their friendship a local legend that everyone assumed would blossom into a lifelong love story. And it did, until it didn't. The summer after their high school graduation ended in a mysterious and abrupt fallout, an emotional explosion so catastrophic that Cora never returned, and she hasn't spoken to Leo since. 10 years later, Cora receives an unexpected invitation. The Grady family is selling the Starlight Lodge. Decades of financial struggle have finally caught up with them, and they were hosting one last 2-week-long farewell for family and longtime guests before they hand over the keys. Cora's first instinct is to decline. The lodge holds too many ghosts, but her younger sister, a romantic who grew up hearing idolized stories of the Starlight, convinces her they have to go to say a proper goodbye. Reluctantly, Cora agrees, arming herself with emotional spreadsheets and a plan to remain politely detached. Of course, the plan combusts the moment she arrives and locks eyes with Leo Grady. He's still got that same crooked smile, but his eyes hold a new weariness she doesn't recognize. The air between them is thick, with 10 years of unspoken words, anger, and a heartbreakingly familiar pull. The chemistry that once defined them is still there, now crackling with a dangerous, unresolved tension. The farewell event is bittersweet, with old guests sharing memories of the lodge's golden days. During a nostalgic rummage through an old cabin, Leo finds something he and Cora had created during their last summer together. The list of rules to be broken. It was a jar filled with dares and dreams they were too scared to act on back then. Silly things like steal a spoon from the fanciest restaurant in town, and more serious ones like admit your biggest fear out loud and spend a whole night under the stars. Seeing the list, Leo, in a moment of wistful desperation, proposes a truce. For the final 2 weeks of the lodge's existence, he suggests they complete the list, every single rule they wrote as teenagers. He frames it as a final, fitting tribute to the place that shaped them, a way to give the Starlight a proper send-off by reliving its glory days. Cora is hesitant. She knows this is a terrible idea, a surefire way to reopen old wounds, but a part of her, the part she thought she'd buried long ago, is tempted by the thought of one last adventure, one last chance to understand what went wrong. She agrees, but with one condition of her own. When the 2 weeks are over and the last rule is broken, they walk away for good, no lingering questions. And so begins their whirlwind journey through the past. The initial rules are light and fun, forcing them back into their easy, familiar banter. They sneak into a rival hotel's pool have a disastrous baking session in the lodge's kitchen at 2 a.m., and go on a ridiculously charming quest to find a mythical creature rumored to live in the nearby woods. Through these shared adventures, the ice between them begins to thaw. Emily Henry's signature witty dialogue is on full display here, with conversations that are both hilarious and laden with subtext. We see flashes of the teenagers they once were and the undeniable connection that still binds them. The narrative is cleverly interspersed with flashbacks to their final summer 10 years ago. We see their friendship deepening into a powerful first love, filled with stolen kisses and whispered promises. But we also see the growing pressures that were destined to tear them apart. Cora, whose family life was unstable, craved security and a clear path forward. Leo, a gifted artist, felt suffocated by his family's expectation that he would take over the failing lodge, forcing him to choose between his dreams and his duty. As they work their way down the list in the present, the challenges become more emotionally charged. Build something that will last leads them to repair the old dilapidated dock where they first kissed. During the long hours of work, they are forced to talk. They cautiously dance around the topic of their breakup, each revealing small pieces of their lives over the past 10 years. Cora talks about her structured life and her career, while Leo admits he put his art on hold to try and save the lodge, a bitterness lacing his words. The turning point comes with the rule: share a secret you've never told anyone. Under a sky full of stars, fulfilling another rule simultaneously, Cora finally confesses her deepest fear, that she is fundamentally unlovable and destined to be left behind, a fear rooted in her transient childhood. In a moment of raw vulnerability, Leo responds by sharing his own secret. He didn't stop painting because he wanted to. He stopped because after Cora left, nothing felt worth capturing anymore. He admits that her leaving wasn't just a heartbreak, it felt like the color had drained from his world. This confession shatters the walls they both built. The unresolved feelings rush to the surface, culminating in a passionate, inevitable kiss. They fall back into each other's arms, and for a few blissful days they allow themselves to believe they can fix what was broken. They operate in a bubble of nostalgia and hope, completing the remaining rules with a newfound intimacy. However, the final rule on the list looms over them. Tell the truth about why we ended. This is the question that has haunted them both for a decade. The night of the climax arrives, the final party at the Starlight Lodge. They retreat to their secret cove to break the last rule. It's here that the full, heartbreaking truth is revealed. On their last night together 10 years ago, Cora had been offered a full scholarship to her dream university, a chance to have the stable life she always craved. Overjoyed, she told Leo, assuming they would try to make long-distance work. But Leo, already buckling under the weight of his family's expectations and terrified of holding her back from the life she deserved, panicked. He manufactured a fight, saying cruel things he didn't mean, and deliberately broke her heart. He believed that pushing her away was the only way to ensure she would leave and build the future she deserved, a future he didn't think he could be a part of. Cora is devastated. The last 10 years of her anger and resentment were based on a lie, a painful, misguided sacrifice. She feels foolish for the narrative of betrayal she clung to, while Leo is crushed by the weight of his decade-long regret. The old pain, now freshly understood, feels insurmountable. It seems their past is too broken to ever truly mend, and they retreat from each other, heartbroken all over again. The next day is the last day. The final guests are leaving, and the new owners are set to arrive. Cora packs her bags, ready to leave the Starlight Lodge, and Leo behind for good, just as she'd promised. But as she's about to drive away, her sister confronts her, telling her that the Cora who follows rules and runs away isn't the real her. In a moment of clarity, Cora realizes she spent 10 years living a life based on a reaction to a single moment of pain. She's been so focused on protecting herself that she hasn't truly lived. She looks at the now empty Starlight Lodge and doesn't see ghosts anymore. She sees a place of love, memory, and second chances. In a classic heart-swelling Emily Henry finale, Cora finds Leo on the dock, sketching in a notebook for the first time in years. She tells him she's done with rules. She doesn't know what the future holds or if they can fix the damage. but she knows she wants to try. She wants a life that is messy and unpredictable as long as he's in it. Leo, finally letting go of his guilt, agrees. The book ends not with a perfect, neatly tied bow, but with a hopeful, realistic promise. They won't be erasing the past, but they will build a new future together, one not dictated by old rules, but by a new, shared courage. And that's a wrap on The Summer We Broke the Rules. What a journey! Emily Henry has once again delivered a story that is so much more than just a romance. It's about forgiveness, not just for others, but for ourselves. It's about how the stories we tell ourselves about our past can shape our entire future and the incredible courage it takes to write a new chapter. The chemistry between Cora and Leo is simply electric, and the emotional depth of their story is something that will definitely stick with me. What did you think? Did you love it as much as I did? What was your favorite rule on their list? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. I truly believe that the best part of reading is getting to share the experience with this amazing community. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today here on Open for Learn. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more deep dives into the books we all love. Until next time, keep reading, keep learning, and keep opening your heart to a good story. See you soon.